It's time to get ready for the next semester, and one of the most important tools, forget that, the most important tool you need is a place to store all of your media. Putting it on your computer or a lab computer is not smart, it's not efficient, it's not safe. The best thing that you need to do and required is to get yourself a hard drive. There are a lot of hard drives on the market, and it's hard to know what you should be buying if you don't know what to look for. So in this short video, I want to give you some tips on what to look for, what to avoid, and what you should come to school with on the first day of class. Now there's different things that we look at a hard drive. One is the overall capacity, the size. How many terabytes, gigabytes does it hold? I have some hard drives, like this little one right here, only holds 500 gigabytes. It's not a lot of information, but it's a very fast hard drive. Whereas you have hard drives that are about this size that can hold 2 terabytes. That's a lot of information, but it's not as fast. Now, why do we need a fast hard drive versus slow hard drive? First, you need to make sure that your hard drive is fast enough to be able to edit your videos off of. If you just pick up a thumb drive like this and try to do all your work off of this will not work. I've had students use these and fail and wonder why their stuff isn't working. This is too slow. It might have enough storage space, but it's not going to have the speed in order to do your projects. So you want to buy a hard drive that's at minimum a USB 3 connection. That's going to allow enough speed to pass back and forth between the hard drive and your computer. Next, you want to look at capacity. One of the first things that sticks out to us on hard drives is the size. How big is the hard drive? How much can I store on it? Well, size isn't always important, but you do want to make sure you have enough space to store all your projects. A 1 terabyte hard drive is going to be great in order to store all your video, photos, audio projects for your entire school career. I've been using the same 2 terabyte hard drive myself for the past 5 years just for schoolwork. You want to make sure that you have a nice fast connection between the hard drive and the computer. So purchase something that's a USB 3, a Thunderbolt, or if you have a new MacBook Pro, you can get the USB-C connectors. In fact, I have a hard drive right here that has a USB-C connector on it, so it's a little bit faster than the old connector types. Why do we need fast? Well, when we edit HD video, if we have a slow connection between the hard drive and the computer, we're going to get a lot of skipping and stuttering of the editing software, and it's not going to be a pleasant experience. And as you move into the future and start getting 4K and 8K video, those faster connection types are going to be extremely important. And of course, you want to make sure you have a connection type that your computer actually has on it. You don't want to have to worry about buying dongles and adapters. Now I understand, if you have that new MacBook Pro which only has USB-C connectors on it, you're going to have to get a dongle. You're going to have to get an adapter. There's no way around it. When you use computers in our lab here, they're not going to have that connector. You're going to have a USB 3 or a Thunderbolt adapter. So these are things you need to look out for. Now, as far as brands go, I have some favorites and I have some avoids. First, the avoid. Avoid the Lacy. I used to love these hard drives. They were the big brand back in the day. But I have a growing number of people that keep telling me about failures of the Lacy drive. And I mean the ones that come in the orange rubber case that are supposed to be indestructible. I've had one die, I've had a friend have one die, and I've had several students who have had them die. I would avoid these at all costs. I actually have had great luck through looking on the inexpensive market with these Seagate models. I've had the same one kicking around for several years now. Of course, I do take good care of it by having it in this nice case, so when it's in my backpack, it's not bumping around everywhere. It's protected. Another big brand that I recommend these days is G-Tech. G-Technologies has put out some great stuff, and this one right here is one of the ones I recommend time and time again. Now, if you want something that's a little faster and don't mind spending a little bit more money for less storage space, I recommend a solid state drive. And what do I mean? Well, these other hard drives that we've been talking about, they all have spinning disks in it. This is a technology we've been using for decades, where there's actually a physical platter with a disk and a needle that reads information. The problem with these is when you drop it, it breaks. Solid state doesn't have that problem. It's a solid state drive, just like what's in your phone. You can read and write to these much faster. The downside is the cost is higher to them, but you get greater performance. Again, this drive right here, which only costs about $80, can store 2 terabytes of information. This drive right here, which only stores 500 gigabytes, costs about $300. So you do pay for it, but for the size, portability, and the performance you get out of it, it could be worth it for you. Now, one thing I can't stress enough, one hard drive, that's not enough. If you store all your stuff on one hard drive and that hard drive drops, gets stolen, breaks, fails, whatever happens, all of your stuff is lost. My best advice, buy 2 drives. And you can have one that's a really good drive and the second one that's just an okay drive. The idea behind this is when you go out and do a project, you record it, take photos, whatever project you're working on, you come back to your dorm room in your house, you put in that media card, you put in your backup drive, copy everything over to that first, and then once you have all that on the media drive, on your backup drive, then you copy that whole folder to what I call my working drive. And that's the structure I work with. I have a backup drive at home that stores all my raw, uncut footage, and I work with it on a different hard drive. So God forbid, something happens to this little drive, it breaks, I lose it, what have you, I still have all my information somewhere else. I might have to do some more editing work, but at least that raw material, the stuff I work so hard to capture, is still somewhere. Because the worst thing we want is to lose all of that information. There's one other thing we need to think about when talking about hard drives, and that's format. Now, this is a little tech geek speak, so I'm just going to try not to lose people. You'll find that some hard drives say formatted for Mac, formatted for Windows, formatted for both. It doesn't matter what it says on the box. You can always change it once you buy it. So if you find a great deal on one that's Windows only, don't worry about it. All it takes is a little know-how to go ahead and make that a Windows only into a Mac compatible format. I'm going to include some links in the description below to some of my favorite hard drives that I recommend purchasing. And hopefully on the first day of class, I'll see you with a hard drive already at your desk. So that way when we start doing on the very first project on day 1, you have a place to save all of your media.